Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the June 6, 2024 meeting of the Falmouth Zoning Board of Appeals. I'm going to ask everyone to take a moment, please silence their cell phones, and please note that this meeting is being recorded by FCTV. If anyone is, private party is recording anything tonight, I would just ask if you come up, identify yourself for the record.
Taylor Frizzetti with the Enterprise.
Thank you, Taylor. I'd like to start by introducing members of the board and staff. Starting at the audience's far left is Frank Duffy, who is a full voting member. Next is Mark Finneran, who is a full voting member. My name is James Morse. I'm currently serving as chair. Suzanne Murphy, who is a full voting member, who is our clerk. Scott Peterson, who is our vice chairman. And Tony Petrucci, who is an associate member. We're also joined this evening by Noreen Stockman, our zoning administrator, and Ashley DeMello, our recording secretary. The Zoning Board of Appeals is charged with applying the state zoning statutes as well as the town zoning bylaws and reviewing and voting on applications. All decisions are made through the public hearing process. The goal is to hear testimony from the applicants and the public and to allow for a full and fair discussion of the project prior to closing. To begin each hearing, the clerk will read pertinent information from the file. The applicant or the applicant's representative will then have 15 minutes to make a presentation. Time may be extended by vote of the board. The board will then question the applicant. Next, the public will be invited to comment. Public comment should be directed only at the project and conclude an opinion in favor or opposition or to ask a specific question about the project. Comments should be limited to 2 minutes. The chair will limit discussion in the interest of time if comments become repetitive. Any member of the public wishing to speak should wait to be recognized by the chair. Please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record. Please speak into the microphone. It does not amplify your voice, but is provided for the benefit of FCTV viewers. The board may continue the hearing to a future date and time. Otherwise, when the board is satisfied that enough information has been presented to make a decision, the hearing will be closed. Once the hearing is closed, no more testimony will be taken. The board will then discuss the proposal amongst themselves, then make a motion to approve or deny the application. The motion will be followed by a summary of key findings and conditions. A supermajority vote of 4 members is required for the approval of special permits and variances. A simple majority, 3-2, would be a failure to carry. Any zoning board of appeals decision may be appealed as provided for in Mass General Law, Chapter 40, A and B. First up on tonight's agenda, ladies and gentlemen, is public comment. This public comment is reserved for anything that is not specifically on this evening's agenda. Does any member of the public wish to make a public comment about anything that is not on tonight's agenda? Next up, we have continuations. First on continuations is 01924 Netto, 614 East Falmouth Highway, requesting a special permit to allow a tow truck, and we have a request to withdraw the application from the applicant. So I'll make a motion to allow the withdrawal without prejudice. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Finneran. Any discussion on the motion? All those in favor to allow withdrawal without prejudice, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? The application is withdrawn. Next on our continuations, we have hearing 02624, Irvin, 15 Ravenwood Circle, Falmouth, requesting a special permit to allow a pool exceeding 20% lot coverage by structures.
I thought you were going to continue that one first.
All right. Let's see what we have. We have Lawrence M. and Stephanie Irwin, 15 Ravenwood Circle, Falmouth, Mass. Applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Sections 240, 11-3A4 of the Code of Falmouth to allow a pool exceeding 20% lot coverage by structures. The subject property is 15 Ravenwood, Falmouth, Mass. And let's see what we have from town boards.
I do have oh, I'm so sorry. I've never done this before.
Just after I do this.
Yes, of course, sorry.
From the Water Department, let's see what I have. No comments. Building Department, no comments. Planning Department, no comments. Fire Department, no comments. Engineering, see attached, so I will get to it. Concom, no comment. Where is engineering? No? Did I screw it up? Hold on. Did I mess it up? Maybe just my hands, it's just me, sorry. Engineering. This application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities, Ravenwood, is a public right-of-way in this area. No alterations are proposed to the right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way will require filing a permit with the engineering division. 2, any connections or alterations to public utilities will require permission from the appropriate town department. 3, the project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public properties, abutters, or public rights-of-way. 4, erosion controls are shown on the plan and appear to be adequate to protect abutting properties and the public right-of-way. We recommend the following condition be included. Quotations, construction of this project shall follow the town's soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions document, which can be found on the engineering's division page of the town's website. References to the Department of Public Works Engineering Division shall be replaced with the Zoning Board of Appeals, who will be the permitting authority for this project. Sorry, I couldn't find that. Board of Health has no issues. Concom, no issues. And that's what I have, and I have 2 letters of comments of concern. But now it's, I think one just came in and it's 3. And if you have one, you can
I
bring
do have
one up.
one.
Thank you.
Thanks.
And for the applicant, good evening.
Good evening. I have no clue what I'm doing here. I don't have a presentation, I'm sorry. All I can do is tell you that, according to our application, we have a pool that we are,
Introduce yourself.
I'm sorry, Stephanie Irvin, 15 Ravenwood Circle, forgive me. My husband is not available this evening. But we have a pool design, thoughts. The variance that we are requesting from the town is because we are over the 20% requirement, I guess, for non-permeable surfaces. And at present, it looks like we're over by 1.2%, so we're asking for a variance of 1.2%. I've heard from, neighbors recently, just this evening, that there's concern that we have not gone around the neighborhood at present to tell people about our plans to put in the pool. The pool is not, we're in such early stages, probably not going to break ground until the spring of 2025. So we are new to the neighborhood. We just moved in just a year ago. Again, I'm happy to address any concerns anyone has. We have done everything by the letter up until this point. If the pool does happen, we plan to do everything by the letter. We've, get all the approvals, everything that needs to be done. I apologize if this is kind of messy, but I've never done this before, so I don't really know what I'm doing.
You're doing fine, you're doing fine.
Thank you. But again, as I said, I'm happy to address any concerns.
Board questions. Tony, start with you.
Is there anything you do to reduce the coverage with regard to that pool?
Is there anything we could do to
In
reduce?
other words, you can make it smaller.
We could make it smaller.
Is that something that you would consider doing?
Possibly, yes. Ideally, ideally, we wanted 18 by 36. We've reduced it to 18 by 34, and now we've found out that, that's still a little bit too big. We would be willing to reduce it.
So you would consider that, and it
We would
wouldn't be
consider.
detrimental to the use of the pool, your use of the pool?
No, probably not.
Okay.
Probably not.
No, I have no other questions.
Scott?
The reason for the continuation from the last time was that
Yeah.
you didn't have it staked out, and I apologize, I didn't get by today. So did you get it staked out?
Oh, yes.
Okay,
So
all right.
no one has been by.
All
Yeah, it was staked last week, and I can get you proof of that if you
No,
need it.
that's fine.
You're welcome to come by tomorrow, my house,
Yeah.
It is staked.
That was my only question. Thank you.
Okay, yes, of course.
Suzanne?
My questions are with the mechanics for the pool.
Yes.
And the noise from it all. It's awful close to the neighbor.
Correct.
What are your plans to deal with the noise?
Well, we've never been pool owners before, so this is all new to us. Certainly, we understand there's a noise ordinance in the town. We know it's close to Kristen and Rod. So, we wouldn't just throw in a system, willy-nilly without understanding what it does and how it runs and, you know, what it sounds like. We're still in the preliminary stages. We're down, like, there's so much here that we don't know yet. Like digging, what happens if you hit a root? No idea. But we certainly wouldn't put in a system that's, you know, that's loud.
Well, they are loud.
They are loud, yeah. I don't know. We've never had a pool before.
Like
This
if
is
you,
our
you're
first.
2 feet from the line, and on this plan, it indicates it's just gonna be like a pad,
Right,
and you're gonna put the equipment on it, so it's not even enclosed. Sometimes we have people that enclose them in sheds and put up sound barriers in the shed,
and that's a possibility. We'd certainly be willing to do that.
but you
if there's
can't put a
problem with
shed
noise.
2 feet to the line, so you
Yeah.
may have to move it.
So is it 2 feet from the actual mechanicals or 2 feet from the pad that it's on? I mean, what, I'm not sure I understand what the,
I don't know if you
What
would
that
like to explain, Noreen. Noreen can explain for you.
yeah, thank you.
Well, so, there's no setback requirement for a patio.
Right.
So, you know, I think what you're referencing is maybe that the edge of the patio goes 2 feet
I
from the
just think the
lot
noise
line.
is right there. yeah.
But the other part of the problem for them is with their lot coverage. A shed in that area is gonna add to lot coverage where this pad does not.
I just didn't know if the pad could be relocated, maybe further away from a dwelling. That's pretty close to those people where they're gonna be sitting outside.
Right.
And they're gonna hear it anytime they're having a cookout, and it's gonna be in their face.
Well, I have to push back on that a little bit, because it's actually, if you look at the property lines, the pad would be adjacent to their garage, their driveway, and the tip of their garage. Their backyard is back here, so it actually wouldn't be right on top of them, with all due respect.
Yeah, not right on top. They're still gonna hear it if they sit outside. Yeah.
They will hear it, but also, in our neighborhood, on Thursday nights, you hear it, people at the Coonamessett Inn, you hear baseball games. There are families around. It's not, you know, it's not, I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is there is noise. I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. But, I mean, like I said, we certainly wouldn't put anything in that's like out of control noisy.
Okay.
I- Yeah.
Oh,
Sorry, I left this at home. What's the lot coverage on this?
They're just looking to go up to
21.2.
21.2.
You have,
Existing
you wouldn't-
17.4.
you wouldn't have any problem simply putting this in a shed with some soundproofing insulation.
We would certainly do that, but if it changes the,
You're well under the 25.
I
And a
thought it
shed
was
actually
20.
can be 2 feet from the property line, as long as it's
3.
3 feet, yeah, as long as it's not over 200 feet. I mean, you're never going to have that. I think all of this could be fixed with a shed with soundproof insulation.
As
I
long
mean, a
as-
shed alone acts like a speaker box, but once
Yeah.
you soundproof insulate it, I mean, it dampens the sound, well, 80% of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think that would satisfy your neighbors.
and we're fine doing that. As it is, there's a fence, so if there's a fence and then a shed with soundproofing, that's extra.
And it's in the corner anyway.
Yeah,
That's, other than I,
Pulled stuff in it.
yeah,
he pulls stuff in it, exactly.
and beer.
And, no,
No, that's all I have.
okay, thank you.
Frank?
Well, we received 2 letters, one from a neighbor directly to the side and another neighbor behind, raising questions. And both letters suggested that there had not been any communication between the applicant and the neighbor. Well, today, I think we got a 3rd letter. What does it say? I didn't get it.
I have not seen that either.
Well, usually we get them before the hearing. so-
The third one was hers.
Oh, I thought you had one.
No,
another
the third one
okay.
was hers.
Oh, it's hers, okay.
So that one is in support. That's from the neighbor.
It's from another, you want to read it, Frank?
Well, is it
It's a
basically?
support letter from neighbors.
Oh, okay, fine. All right, well, says they're great neighbors, respectful, friendly, cordially, and so forth. I don't doubt that at all. But what concerns me about this application is that there's just a lot of no detail here. I think, at least my inclination is that they should go back, talk to the neighbors, come back with a more detailed plan that we can look at and approve. I would vote no on the basis of tonight.
May I ask a question? Is this evening about the variance,
No.
our application for the extra
Yes.
coverage, or is it about the pool itself?
Well, the pool is going to increase your lot coverage over the 20%.
Right.
So it's about both. But when we consider an application for a special permit, we have a number of things to consider, one of which is the impact on the neighborhood. And it's kind of hard to figure that out based upon what I've heard tonight. So that's all I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm opposing this. I just don't see enough tonight, at least as far as I'm concerned.
Have you seen the other emails that we received from neighbors, what their concerns are?
I have.
Could you address anything? I think that my recollection was there were some concerns about what could happen, what your plans would be if you have to drain the pool or being so close to the lot lines.
Being so close to the lot lines, we're within code. We're 10 feet from the lot lines.
What are you going to do if you have to drain the pool? Where's that water going to go?
I honestly, I don't know.
Okay.
I've never owned a pool before. As I said, we're in such early stages. I don't know what that looks like.
They don't drain pools anymore.
Yeah, they drive it away, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just throw the, and can I?
Of course.
I mean, we routinely approve lot coverages of 24.97%. I mean, I don't see any concern, honestly, with the lot coverage here. I mean, she's going to be under 22 even with an enclosure to dampen the sound from the pool equipment in you know, with respect to your neighbors. I really don't see any problem here.
Let's,
I,
are there any follow-up questions? So we'll get
For
to
you,
public
Jim,
comment and then we
another one
can.
that you may want to have on that letter addresses lighting.
oh, sure.
If
So,
you could address that.
sure. So all the lighting we have in our backyard right now was put in by the previous owner. There's a floodlight in the back of the house that wouldn't change, and a light as you're coming out our patio doors. I don't know if anyone has a plot plan, but as you're coming out the patio doors, the lighting there, we wouldn't have any additional lighting.
So the pool won't be lit at night.
If it was lit at night, it would probably be lit from within. And may I just say, it's my husband and I. We don't have, our kids are in college and beyond. You know, we're thinking grandkids down the road. We're not thinking ragers on Friday night. We're too old for that.
Did you have a question?
Tony?
You're hiring somebody to build this pool for you.
Yes,
All right, there's a concern about where the mechanical is going to be. They are very close. It's resolvable. You have plenty of room in which to move that. It does not have to be there. Whoever put it there was doing it probably for your convenience more than anything else. And would you be willing to move the mechanicals if it's an issue?
if the new design was sensical, yes. I
Well, I'm
mean,
pretty sure it would be, it would make sense, but I don't know that. But would you be willing to if it did make sense?
we would be willing, yes.
Or reluctant?
As well as it is right now. So when we had our pool designer come, we looked at initially putting the pool in the middle of the yard, you know, running parallel to the house. But because of the 10 feet requirements, that didn't work. Another option would be to put it on the other side of the yard, on the side where the garage is. But if you come out my patio doors, you have a patio, you'd have to walk around the house to get to the pool. There are no windows on that side of the house. So that, to me, when I have grandchildren, is a safety concern. I don't want a pool that's on the other side of the house.
But the thing is that you've hired somebody who could redesign it in a manner that might resolve the mechanical side of this.
Yes, but,
You could,
yep,
usually there isn't a problem with going to 25% in the residential C district. So that doesn't necessarily mean you have to downsize the pool too much or at all. But it sounds like there's an issue with sound and all that, and I think that's something you probably can resolve.
Yeah, oh, I'm willing. We are definitely willing. Listen, we're not here to say this is what we want and, gosh darn it, whatever.
It's just important to
We're willing
work
to
things
work.
out with the community.
Absolutely,
Okay.
absolutely.
Oh, you can also use sound mitigation on the inside of a fence or a shed structure that will absorb a great amount of noise. So that could be something the board just condition.
Is there any follow-up questions before we go to public comment? I'm sure people may have follow-up after public comment.
I just, we had one on Clamshell Lane where we just made them put soundproofing in the enclosure for the shed, and,
This doesn't show an enclosure, though.
no, about, I mean, we
And where it's
condition
shown,
it
it
that way.
can't be there, so,
Yeah, it could be 3 feet.
yeah, they'd have to move
So
it.
they have to move it 1 foot. I mean, 1 foot isn't an issue in any direction with,
No,
No.
of course
so
not.
if we conditioned an enclosure for the pool equipment, you could basically leave it where it is plus 1 foot, and
Well, what do you, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, but what do you condition when you say soundproofing? What type of soundproofing? To what extent? How do you reduce the decibel sound? You can't just condition that it has to be soundproof. It needs to be soundproofed in a way that reduces the sound so that it's not crossing the border of the property.
we did do it before, though. However, we did it then, I suggest that we would do it the same.
I'm not suggesting you
was-
wouldn't, I'm just
No,
saying that, how do
just
you condition it?
Specify that the interior's faced with sound baffling material.
Okay.
It's standard.
Public comment. Ma'am.
Sorry.
This is, my name is Kirsten Moritz, and I'm at 7 Ravenwood Circle.
I'm the owner, Rodney
This is
Hinkle.
my husband. I'm speaking for him because he has memory loss, and he's asked me to present our side of the issue. I think this whole thing could have been avoided had Stephanie and Larry even said one word to us about the fact that they would like to put in a pool and see what our concerns were, but as it is, that didn't happen. And you have the letter from me, I think it's a 3-page letter in there. We did hire a lawyer to look at this, and he had some concerns with the lack of information about what would be in the mechanical box, how noisy it would be, and how far it was from us. The issue is that the mechanical box, we are not so concerned with the pool, as we are concerned with the possibility of noise and disturbance from the mechanical box, because there is absolutely no information about what that does. I did speak to Stephanie through our bushes about that, and she told me the reason they didn't want to move it elsewhere was because it's financially more expensive to move the mechanical box elsewhere. They have a large property there. The mechanical box could go elsewhere. Right now, the mechanical box is where there are no windows in their particular size, so they do not see it. We see it. If it were moved, as most, if you Google mechanical boxes, they're usually on the garage side. It's on our garage side, not their garage side. There seems to be other space that should be considered to put this mechanical box. I can see the corner of their house with windows right near us. That's a place that box would fit very well. Of course, then they would see it. So this is the issue for us. I have concerns about my husband's health. He's 88. He suffers from memory loss. He's under the care of Sean Horrigan and Hyannis. I am his sole caretaker. He is very susceptible to noise. He needs a kind of calm environment. His hearing aids amplify background noise. He's outside in our deck. He doesn't have a big life anymore. So where is he in the summer? He's on our deck in the yard, often in the summer. He is disturbed, definitely disturbed by noise. So this is one of my very big concerns. He is the owner of the house. The house was constructed in the 1970s. Rodney bought it in 1999. It's an old-style, small cape, not air-conditioned. We have our windows open all summer, and it's not true that it's just by our garage. We have a bedroom right above the garage, so that bedroom, we use it, the window looks right down into the mechanical box area, proposed mechanical box area. So these are our concerns. I don't think we have enough information at all about what's going to go in the box, what's the decibel noise, what can be done. Stephanie did tell me they would have a big fence barrier put up around, which we would be then looking at, sort of a stockade area. I know what that's like, to look at a stockade fence. Usually a fence, as it approaches the road, goes down, not up in its height, because then you can't see to back out as well. I don't know if I did send a photograph, which should be in your files, about what it looks like. I just don't think the space now designated is big enough for protection for us, and I am not understanding why that mechanical box cannot be placed elsewhere in the property. I don't want to take up too much time because I know there are others here, but if you have any questions.
No question.
Other public comment?
Am I allowed to respond?
Give you a chance afterwards. Other
Okay.
public comment?
Thank you.
We're done.
Ian's letter.
All right, follow-up questions, or if you'd like to respond to anything that was raised briefly, ma'am.
I just want to respond real quick to the fence. So the way our fence is now, and Mr. Peters, you've been to my house. So we have a standard fence around the yard. In the front, the fence is probably, 4 feet high. If the pool goes in, our plan is to bring the fence up to be flush with the fencing in the regular, around the perimeter of the yard. So there's that. As far as seeing, I'm responding to as far as seeing in her sight from the driveway, it would be, just a standard fence around the front.
Follow-up questions, anyone else? You indicated that you would be willing to place the mechanicals in an enclosure, a shed or otherwise, and soundproof it?
Yes.
I don't know about having a 6-foot fence come almost to the street, though.
Oh, it doesn't.
No, okay.
It doesn't.
How
So the
far?
fence is in our backyard only. And
Nothing's gonna be in the front,
Oh, no,
near their
no.
driveway.
The
Okay.
fence, the actual size of the fence will not, the area of the fence will not change.
Okay.
The fence height in the front will go from here.
So the front is gonna go up?
Yeah, but the fence
Ends at the
is
back of
just
the
our
garage.
backyard. It's not, it doesn't go down.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I'm not good at
Got it.
this. Thank you.
Board discussion.
I mean, I've had a pool for 25 years. You don't run your pool pump all day and all night, so I tend to agree with Mr. Finneran's review, is that as long as we can put this in a shed with soundproofing, it really shouldn't have an impact to the neighbors. And, the applicant has certainly heard our concerns, and we can condition it to reduce that noise and put any risk that it would migrate past the property line. So it's a big backyard with fencing.
Can't hear you.
It's a big backyard with fencing. I think that the applicant is doing what they're allowed to do, and I believe that with a shed with soundproofing, that noise will not go out past the property lines. And there's no reason to run pumps 24 hours a day anymore. Pools are very efficient, so I think I'm okay with it, quite honestly.
Is there a chance?
Oh, this is not a back and forth, this is a board discussion. Tony?
I have no comments.
Suzanne?
I agree, I think we could condition it.
Okay. Mark, anything else?
Yeah, you know, we can dampen the sound, and as far as the fence is concerned, it doesn't go into the front yard, and they have a right to put up a 6-foot fence if they choose. So I don't see any other problems. So, I mean, they're certainly well under the 25%, so I think the size of the pool as proposed is, it's their choice.
Frank?
Well, I agree. I'm not particularly opposed to this pool, by the way, but, and I agree with Mark that we have approved similar projects and similar lot coverages before. But Ms. Irwin said that they're not going to build this till 2025, so we have some time here. I would like to see the neighborhood communicate with each other and come back with more details worked out, so we don't have to guess when we're writing conditions.
Yeah, that's a good point, too.
So,
But on that point, I mean, are we going to require everyone to speak to all of their neighbors? I mean, it's not written as such at the moment. I mean, we follow down that path? Are we encumbering ourselves and making our meetings longer and more complicated and continuations more than we already have? I think we should stick with the rules as they are.
I think we encourage people to talk to their.
Oh, absolutely we do, but I don't
No, I
think
do,
we should
yeah.
require it.
No, not required, but we encourage it because then you don't get, nobody gets blindsided.
No, but, I mean, there's a difference between encouraging and requiring, though. And it seems like to continue this thing and requires, you know, I mean, they're doing everything that they're allowed by right, basically.
I don't have an issue with the lot coverage. I don't have an issue with the placement of the pool. I think but I agree with Scott. I think that we can condition this, but I guess the question is, given that they're not going to 2025, to Frank's point, you know, if we could ask them to come back with a proposal that they could share with their neighbors, saying, this is what we're going to build, this is how it'll be insulated, and this is what the architect says will be the noise, they may be able to satisfy the neighbors' concerns between now and the end of the hearing, or the next hearing. So I'm not opposed to the project. I share concerns, and I agree that I think that it can be buffered out to the point that it wouldn't be an issue, but my question, I guess, is that, would anyone like just to see what the applicant would propose, to actually come back and say, this is the shed, these are the dimensions, this is what it'll be, we'll have inside, so, and this is what we expect the ambient noise to the neighborhood would be.
I would agree with that.
So I guess what we're saying is, we're not opposed to your project, we just want to see, what are you going to build, what it's going to be insulated with, and then if you could have the architect indicate what they think that just the ambient noise that might be coming out. And I would encourage you to share with your neighbors, because we've had other issues where people are proposing changes to neighborhoods, and all of a sudden, the 5 or 6 abutters are coming back cheering, saying, this is a lovely project, and we're all in favor of it.
Has anybody heard a new pool that's been constructed in the last 4 or 5 years? They make basically a hum. It's nothing like the old one that used to click on and it'd be a hard, almost like a transmission sound. I mean,
I don't disagree with that, but it's
they're
also,
very-
if we're
they're
going to
very
require,
quiet.
if we're going to require a structure, I'd like to see what that structure is and how big it's going to be,
And location.
and location. And how many feet off the property line it's going to be sitting as well.
Great.
No.
And it actually works out better, this you can put stuff in it. I would want a place to
If
put
you,
my stuff.
yeah, that's the other thing. If you want a larger shed, that's, it might be a good time to construct that. How much time, ma'am, do you think that you might need just to get that information?
Honestly, I don't know. We have to go back to,
I think Cape and Islands could probably come up with a structure size pretty quickly.
You could probably buy a pre-constructed shed quite easily, and then just auxiliary, you know, insulate the inside.
I mean, you tell me, when do you want us back?
Noreen?
We're so slammed, it's
I
tough.
know, I'm thinking
How about Christmas?
Yeah,
towards the
really.
end of the summer.
We're like so busy.
So we would need to continue to July 25th. Maybe that would give you time to get that updated.
Okay, so you're asking for design on a surround shed for, okay, that's it.
Show us the shed, show us what you're gonna use to insulate it.
Can you move it off the sideline a little bit, so?
Yeah, okay.
There's no concern about fencing or anything, right? We're all set on all that?
No,
right?
that's-
Yeah.
I'm not concerned about, well, regardless, they have to comply with the.
Right.
And if you buy the shed
Safety codes about
online,
the fencing.
you're going to get the drawings with it, and that would be sufficient to present to us.
So if you're gonna put a shed in, you would wanna have your surveyor just update your plan to include that.
All right, it's,
Motion to continue to July 25th?
Scott, is there a second?
Second.
Give that to Suzanne. Any further discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's continued to July 25th. Last up, under continuations of 03424 Sarawak Gray, 53 North Falmouth Highway, we have a request for continuance. I believe we are within our period where we don't need a paperwork from the applicant, so I'll make a motion to continue to 7:25. Is there a second?
Second.
Well, who wants
He
a
moved
second?
it. Scott. Scott.
Give it to Scott. All those in favor, please, any discussion on the motion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That's continued to 7:25. Next up, we have new hearings. First is 03924 Schwartz, 20 Norris Path, East Falmouth, requesting a special permit to remove the existing landing and construct an addition to the non-conforming dwelling.
Okay, we have Jared Schwartz, 20 Norris Path, East Falmouth, Mass. Applied to the zoning board of appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 240-102A, the Code of Falmouth, to remove the existing landing and construct an addition to the non-conforming dwelling. And let's see what we have from town departments. Water has no comment. Assessors have no comment. Planning has no comment. Building has no comment. And we have engineering. This application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Norris Path is a private right-of-way in this area. 2, any conditions or alterations to public utilities will require permission from the appropriate town department. 3, the project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-way. 4, we recommend that the board add a condition that requires the addition of dry wells, rain garden, or other stormwater infiltration measures, or stormwater harvesting measures, such as rain barrels for the new roof area at a minimum. Where this is a small lot and the proposed work is close to abutting properties, the contractor should be held responsible for implementing erosion and sediment controls if conditions warrant. We recommend the following condition be included. Construction of this project shall follow the town's soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions. Document can be found at the Engineering Division's page of the town's website. References to the Town Department of Public Works Engineering Division shall be replaced with the Zoning Board of Appeals, who will be the permitting authority. Board of Health has no issues. No issues there. We have, this is the Concom. So we did have Concom approve this, right? Or a negative?
-2.
-2, thank you. And that's all I have.
All right, for the applicant, good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, members of the board. For the record, Kevin Clower. I am before you at the moment representing Jared Schwartz, the owner of 20 Norris Path, seeking permission for a minor addition to the westerly side of this dwelling in order to create a small mudroom in place of the existing landing and steps. 20 Norris Path is located just off of T-Ticket Highway near the northern end of Perch Pond. The lot is just shy of 15,000 square feet, and it's a residential C zoning district. Presently, there's a 4-bedroom, single-family dwelling and shed. Total footprint 1,604 square feet, which is only 10.9% lot coverage by structure. The existing landing and stairs are non-conforming to the side yard setback to the western lot line. It's 9 feet where 10 is required. Otherwise, the property is entirely conforming to setback and lot coverage requirements. The applicant proposes to construct a small enclosed mudroom. Really, the purpose is to increase the functionality of the space. It's much more useful for the applicant. Recently had his first child, who turns a year, I think this week, and he realized that a mudroom would be a significant improvement over the landing. It's difficult to navigate. Substantially the same footprint of the landing as at present. It's slightly larger, but runs further to the rear of the structure. The setback does not change. The lot coverage by structure does increase slightly by about 60 square feet, which brings us to 11.3% lot coverage by structure. Lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking is only 13.5%. Because of the existing non-conforming setback, this requires a special permit under 240-10.2A, which states that pre-existing non-conforming structures may be changed by special permit, provided they're not substantially more detrimental than what exists. This board is asked to consider the standards of 240-12.1E and whether or not the alteration creates any new nonconformities, impairs views and vistas, and reasonably conforms to the neighborhood. Here, there's no new nonconformity created. The existing nonconforming setback isn't changed. The lot coverage by structure and the lot coverage by structure, paving, and parking remain well under the allowable thresholds. There's no impacts to views and vistas, and it does remain in character with the neighborhood. This project represents an improvement over the existing conditions with a much better usefulness for the applicant. Will not create any new dimensional nonconformities, and it meets the requirements of 240-12.1E. I don't believe there's any adverse effects, and certainly none that would overbalance the benefits that I've described. For these reasons, I believe this board can and should grant the special permit, and I'd be happy to address any questions that you might have at this time.
Questions from the board? Start with you, Frank.
I don't have any questions on this. I went out, took a look at the site, and I think the application, and I understand it, and it makes some sense to me.
Mark?
No, it's perfect sense with a child, keep the mud out of the house. Small, minor, I have no issues with it whatsoever.
I have no questions. Suzanne?
How do we address the Concom had a different plan? Can we just condition?
I actually submitted an updated plan. The only change that was shown are the Concom setbacks. So that was submitted to the file.
It just came in late?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there's no change to the proposal whatsoever. It's just
I
showing,
just didn't know if we needed to
Yeah.
condition that.
it's just these, it's
Okay.
these green lines and the blue line here. That's the only
Okay.
change.
Okay.
Scott?
No, removing the existing landing and having a covered porch area makes perfect sense, so. Good little project.
No issues or questions?
Great.
Public comment? Board discussion?
Close?
Motion to close. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are closed. No more testimony will be taken. How would the board like to proceed?
Motion to approve with conditions.
Second that.
Second, Mr. Finneran. Findings?
Findings, it's in an RC zone, overlay district Great Pond, private road. Lot size is 14,734. Existing is 10.9 over 13.1, and proposed is 11.3 over 13.5. I didn't write any heights down as usual, Kevin.
No change for heights, so
But I
not needed.
didn't think, I
I
looked
didn't
down there.
mention heights.
Had a tough week with heights. I already said private way. The setback will be a little improved, and they have a Concom approval. I think that's about all I have, unless you have more.
Finding that the project is not more detrimental, there will be no new additional nonconformities. The existing one is improved slightly. Views and vistas are not impaired, as there's no increase to ridge height or significant increase to the building mass. Lot size is more than adequate, only going to 11.3%, where 20 is allowed by right. No bedroom increase, no increase in septic, no opposition in the file or offered at the hearing. Anything else? Conditions
All town boards,
per revised plans.
revised plans.
Hours?
Standard hours of work. They should be able to get stuff off the roadway. It's a private road
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah.
Any other conditions?
Noreen, anything else?
You may want an as-built for the setback to the west, just to make sure that it's not an additional encroachment.
It's reasonable. Anything else? All those in favor, and these will be the regular voting members, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's a vote.
Thank you very much.
Next up is 04124, Bartholomew, 58 Juniper Drive, North Falmouth, requesting a special permit to allow a third garage bay.
Okay, we have Dana and Sophia Bartholomew, 20 Long Meadow Drive, Westwood, Mass. Apply to the zoning board of appeals for a special permit pursuant to section 246-6 of the Code of Falmouth to allow a third garage bay. The subject property is 58 Juniper Drive in North Falmouth. And from town boards, let's see, we have the assessors, no comment. Water, no comment. Building, no comment. Planning, no comment. Health. Health has no issues with the project. In Title V, you no longer use bedroom number where the total number of rooms exceeds 8. And it's in our bylaws. And we have engineering. This application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Juniper Drive and Bayshore Drive are private rights-of-way in this area. 2, any connections or alterations to public utilities will require permission from the appropriate town department. 3, the project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-way. We recommend that the board add a condition that requires the addition of dry wells, rain garden, or other stormwater infiltration measures, or stormwater harvesting measures such as rain barrels for the new roof area at a minimum. We recommend the following condition be included. Quotations, under completion of construction, the applicant shall post the address for this residence with a time limit for compliance, unquote. 6, where this is a small lot, the proposed work is close to abutting properties. The contractor should be held responsible for implementing erosion and sediment controls. We defer to the board if this information should be added to any plans prior to any approval. We recommend the following condition be included. Construction of this project shall follow the town's soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions. Document can be found on the Engineering's Division page of the town website. References to the Department of Public Works Engineering Division shall be replaced with Zoning Board of Appeal, who will be the permitting authority. That's engineering. And then we have a whole Concom approval. And let's see what we get. That's all Concom. And that's what we have.
For the applicant, good evening.
Wonderful. Thank you again, Kevin Clower, for the applicant. I'm representing Dana and Sophia Bartholomew, the owners of 58 Juniper Road, which was until just recently considered 153 Bayshore Drive. Mr. Bartholomew is here with us this evening. This property is located in Bayshore Estates, which is just north of Old Silver Beach. It's a residential B zoning district. It's a good-sized lot. It's just a little under 30,000 square feet. And the applicants have actually owned this property since 2007. However, they're finally now moving forward with the construction of a new home here. They recently obtained a building permit. I'm sure if you went out, you noticed that. But they'd like to amend that permit to include a third garage bay. This change doesn't actually have an effect on the intended footprint. The proposed garage is slightly over 1,000 square feet and therefore requires a special permit, though, to have that third garage bay under 246.6. The house, as approved, as permitted, is entirely by right. It comfortably meets all setbacks, front, rear, and side yard. Lot coverage by structures at 18.2%. Lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking is 28.1%, both below the allowable thresholds. The allowed ridge height, the main portion of the house is 28 feet, 8.5 inches. The ridge over the garage is 24 feet, 9.5 inches. 246.6B allows for a garage space for more than 2 vehicles. There's actually no standard set forth in that bylaw for the issuance of that permit. So we looked at 240.12.1E, formerly 240.216, in which the threshold question is, does the proposed use have adverse effects which overbalance the beneficial effects to the neighborhood and to the town? This lot is more than adequate in size. It doesn't change the nature of the proposed use. It only improves the utilization of that space. There's no impact on traffic flow or safety. There's no change to the number of bedrooms. And the approval of the special permit does not change the shape or size of the structure in any way. As noted, this is really just about whether or not they can have a third garage bay, which for some reason requires a special permit. I've never really understood. The remainder of the house is already permitted and is done so by right. At the risk of oversimplifying, I believe this meets all the requirements of 246.6B and 240.12.1E, and I would ask that the board grant the special permit, and I'd be happy to address any questions that you might have.
Questions for the board? Tony?
I'm just curious, the plans say 153 Bayshore Road, but the address is 58.
The assessors changed it.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, so when they issued the building permit, the engineering department gave them a 78 Juniper Road address. So it was, if you look up the assessor's card, it's still under 153 Bayshore.
58.
Oh, 58, I'm sorry.
Other than that, I mean, everything seems to fit well. No other questions?
Scott?
Just a clarification, is it 44 feet, 5.5 inches? Is that, it's just hard to see, I can't see.
What are we referring to?
The garage dimensions, 44.5 by 24?
24
In a second.
It's just the copy is,
Yeah, it's, let's zoom, enhance. It's 24
yep. 44.5?
by 44, 5.5.
Yeah,
So it's, I think it's 1,056 square feet total.
makes sense. Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Suzanne?
We don't need anything from the assessors for the file.
Nope.
Because this, the plan,
We can condition just
okay.
updated address for, if that's your concern. Nice project, I have no issue. What is a wrapping room?
Yeah, that is another question. Is it Christmas stuff?
That's,
You know,
What is wrapping room?
my wife effectively has, we call it her office, but it is a wrapping room. It's what it's like, she geeks out over Christmas. I don't know if Mrs. Bartholomew is the same way, but she has like a station set up with tapes, and it's a lot.
just, reviewing the plans, I was like, well, I know what an office is.
I was gonna ask him, then I was like, I was gonna ask him, then I go, I know what it is.
Not a bedroom.
When we show we have a house in Westwood that has a wrapping room. It is my wife's favorite room. Everything, every bow, every different color wrapping paper is there.
Is the outside just as good with the lights? Because we're gonna come driving, oh, we can't get in. Oh, in the winter we can get in.
Yeah.
Car's gone in the winter, you're fine.
Mark, do you have any questions?
No, my birthday just went by, so wrapping room won't be any.
Frank?
I'm all set.
Public comment.
We don't need to make that door opening any wider on the wrapping room.
I'll defer to the building commissioner.
Greater than
Because the
8
plan's already approved. Ma'am, you have a comment?
Well, I'm in the butter. May I speak?
Yes, please.
So my name is Jody Garber. I live at 145 Bay Shore Drive.
145?
Yes. So I have a procedural question, I think. What, the building is started, why now a special permit? Why shouldn't this have been caught before?
So within the third garage bay requires a special permit. If the initial plans only had 2 garage doors, or they called it something else, they can obtain a building permit as a matter of right. To get the third bay permitted, they have to come back for the zoning board and get a special permit from us. Noreen, I'll defer to you if that is,
Yeah, it's a little bit peculiar, but essentially, if the board did not vote for it, the space would not have to go away. It just wouldn't be that they could have another door bay there.
So I don't know if the.
It's kind of a
need change,
peculiarity.
park, you know, why 3 now and 2 before?
So it's a new popular thing, because people typically have 2 cars, minimal. So you need the third bay for all your stuff, right? So it's just, yeah, the bylaw hasn't caught up with what people are asking for.
But it seems to me it should have done it before. Anyway, it seems to me.
I don't
Also-
disagree with the sentiment, ma'am, but procedurally, it's the rules that we have before us, and when someone makes a request, then we basically have to look at the project, so do you have any concerns about the third garage bay specifically, or is this
No,
was your question just
I said it was
procedurally?
it was procedural. It was my understanding that the address was originally on Bay Shore Drive, the frontage, but that because of some floodplain issue, that the front of the house will be on Juniper Road?
So I think the testimony, and Mr. Clower could certainly perhaps clarify, the assessor sets the address, we have nothing to do with that. My
No, but they
understanding-
do, don't they? No?
The assessor
Actually,
says what the
engineering.
address is. The assessor will say, depending on where the house is facing or what the actual address is. We don't have any control over that. So the plans that we had did have Bay Shore Drive on it. The testimony tonight, though, is that it is now on Juniper Drive, so. Mr. Clower, do you have any clarification of that, or?
Didn't the frontage change? Wasn't it originally fronting on Bay Shore Drive? I mean, this is, again, maybe not
We
germane.
always wanted it facing that direction. We
On
always
Juniper?
wanted that- Yeah. We actually followed what you guys had done.
Kevin, you're up.
Yeah, you're up.
If you're done, ma'am, I'll respond.
I think I may be done.
Okay. I mean, effectively, you know, the
Curious to see.
The engineering department assigns an address based on the application. This application happened to have it fronting along Juniper Drive. I don't know that there was ever a design that had it fronting on Bay Shore. If it was fronting, if the front of the house faced Bay Shore, it might well have been a Bay Shore address, but it's not. So when it went for the building permit, we went through the engineering department, this is the address they assigned to it.
Any other public comment? All right, board discussion. Any?
None needed. Good project.
Yeah. How would the board like to proceed?
Motion to close.
Yeah, motion to close. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Finneran. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We're closed. No more testimony will be taken. And how would the board like to proceed?
Motion to approve with conditions.
Motion approved with conditions to Mr. Finneran. Who's the second?
I will be.
Suzanne will be the second. Findings?
Findings, let's see, it's in an RB zone. Wild Harbor is the overlay district. It's in a flood zone AE 15. The lot size is 29,143. Both roads are private. The proposal is 18.2 over 28.18. The dwelling itself is going to be 28.8, and the garage ridge is 24.9, if I'm correct. You know I'm very rarely correct on that.
24, 8 3/4.
24, there you go, 24, 3/4. At least I'm consistently not correct.
You're doing a great job, Susan.
Thank you.
I don't care what Scott says.
It's hard to read on these things. Noreen has a magnifying glass in there that I have to use. They have Concom approval, or negative approval. Findings would be that the assessors or building department assigned a different address than the plans. That go into findings, I think.
Testimony about the address discrepancy on the plans and what the building permit is.
Right.
The address will be.
It meets all criteria. I think that's all I have.
Just to add that there is an approved building permit with 2 bedrooms. The plans do not change. The addition is merely for the third. 2 bays. 2 bays to 3 bays. So that nothing, the footprint, ridge height, et cetera, bedroom count is not changing. Applicant provided a definition of a wrapping room for us for the board's edification.
Can we condition the Christmas lights reflect the wrapping room?
Let's not get too off the rails. Conditions, I don't really need to condition
Per
anything. It's
plans?
just per the approved plans.
Right.
I think engineering had asked for a dry well.
Okay.
Yeah.
They said for the new roof area, but there is no new roof area.
Yeah, that made no sense to me.
Yeah, I mean,
Per-
I guess he's the whole structure.
It's just the addition of a garage bay. It's just per the approved plans.
Just
Yeah.
per plans, and we're covered, yeah.
And to comply with engineering
Soil
addressing
erosion
numbering.
sediment control.
Anything else? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Thank you.
Thank you all very much.
Next up, we have 04324 Powderly, trustees of 73 Worcester Court, Falmouth, requesting a special permit to construct an addition at the rear of the dwelling and add a pool, increasing lot coverage by structures.
Okay, we have Robert and Ann Powderly, trustees of 42 Wayside Lane in Ashland, Mass. Applied to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Section 240.102A and 240.11.3A4 of the Code of Falmouth to construct an addition at the rear of the dwelling and add a pool, increasing lot coverage by structure. Subject property is 73 Worcester Court. And let's see what we have. Water has no comment. Assessors have no comment. Planning, no comment. We're on a roll. Building, no comment. It's Seward. Board of Health has no comment. And here we have engineering. The application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Worcester Court is a public right-of-way in this area. No alterations are proposed to the right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way will require filing a permit with the engineering division. Any connections or alterations to public utilities will require permission from the appropriate town department. 3, the project must not direct any stormwater runoff to public property, abutters, or public rights-of-way. 4, a dry well is proposed for the proposed addition's roof, as we typically recommend. 5, erosion controls are shown on the plan and appear to be adequate to protect abutting properties and the public right-of-way. We recommend the following condition be included. Quotations, construction of this project shall follow the town's soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions. Document can be found on the Engineering Division's page of the town's website. References to the Department of Public Works Engineering Division shall be replaced with the Zoning Board of Appeals, who will be the permitting authority. That was engineering. Concom has no comment. And that's what we have.
For the applicant, good evening again.
Again, Mr. Chair, members of the board, Kevin Clower for the applicants Robert and Ann Powderly, the owners of 73 Worcester Court. I'm joined tonight by Adriana Powderly, who is the daughter-in-law of the owners of record. This is a family-owned property and has been for quite some time. We're seeking to alter the existing non-conforming dwelling with a small addition at the rear of the building. And included in the application is a future pool, which has been factored into lot coverage. 73 Worcester Court is located at the northern end of Worcester Court. It's almost directly between Jericho Path and Lake Lehman Drive. As the board knows, it's a dense residential neighborhood, maybe the prettiest neighborhood in town. It is on a lot of 13,190 square feet. Residential C zoning district. It is not located in the flood zone, surprisingly, and it is on the Little Pond Sewer. Presently, there is a 4-bedroom, single-family dwelling with a detached shed. Total footprint of 2,752 square feet. The house conforms to all setback requirements. It is only non-conforming relative to lot coverage by structure, which is 20.9%, where 20 is allowed by right and up to 25 by special permit. So the applicants are proposing a modest addition, which is an expansion of the first floor in order to create a sunroom, sitting room at the rear of the home, as well as a small deck. There's no other changes to the footprint of the primary structure. As I mentioned, the application does include a future pool with an auto cover, although it is a fenced-in backyard. And they want to go through the special permit process for that now as well, because it'll still be in effect, assuming they move forward with the addition. The primary ridge height here of the dwelling is 28 feet, 8 3/4 inches. That will remain unchanged. The addition is at the rear of the home. The ridge height of the addition is 22 feet, 6 3/4, which is 6 feet below the primary ridge. The proposal does not create any new nonconformities. The setbacks all remain conforming. Though the lot coverage by structure does increase, it remains allowable at 24.97% and does eliminate the existing nonconforming lot coverage with the issuance of a special permit. The addition to the home is, as I said, fairly modest. There's no increase to bedrooms. And it is worth noting that of the increase that we're talking about, 416 square feet is a future pool. And though it is a structure by definition, it's not really the type of structure that's envisioned by that bylaw. It doesn't add shadow or mass to the structure. Due to the existing nonconformity and because of the proposed lot coverage, this requires a special permit under 240-10.2A and 240-11.3A4. Under 10.2A, pre-existing non-conforming structures may be changed by special permit, provided they're not substantially more detrimental than what exists. The board is asked to consider the standards of 240-12.1E and whether or not there's any new dimensional nonconformities created, it impairs the views and vistas, and it reasonably conforms to the neighborhood. In this case, as noted, there are no new nonconformities created, and there's no changes to the views and vistas. This is all located in the rear of the house, and it does conform to the neighborhood. Under 240-11.3A4, in the RC zoning district, lot coverage by structure exceeding 20% requires a special permit. Under that provision, you're asked to consider the size and height of the structure in relation to the neighborhood, the effect of shadow, and the impacts on views and vistas from public ways, as well as the effect of nitrogen on coastal embayments. We did provide a lot comparison worksheet. This appears to be in character with the neighborhood. There's no increase to the ridge height, should have no impact on views or vistas or shadow. Project that's proposed is an improvement for the owners. It adds useful, habitable space and is by no means substantially more detrimental than what exists. There's no new dimensional nonconformities, no change to existing setbacks. The lot coverage by structure will remain allowable, and it meets all the standards of 240-10.2A and 240-12.1E. I'd be happy to address any questions the board may have, but otherwise I would ask that you grant this special permit.
Questions from the board? Start with you, Frank.
Mr. Clower, do you have any idea how this structure became non-conforming in the first place? I didn't see any history of special permits in the file that would indicate.
Well, until 2005, lot coverage by structure of up to 35% was allowed by right. So that changed in 2005. I don't know if it's been this exact footprint since that time. There's also a shed that's being removed. The shed could have been what bumped it up over that lot coverage. There's a number of possibilities. I don't know, I don't quite know.
Okay, so what you're saying is the zoning change affected the,
Residential C zoning district.
okay. All right, you've got your pencil really sharp here, coming in at 24.9% and 39.9%.
So that includes the pool and the future patio that would surround the pool. So if you back out those numbers, it's actually much lower, but they wanted to include that in their proposal today.
All right, I understand that. Okay, thank you. No further questions.
Mark?
Nothing?
I have no questions.
Ask Frank if he wants to look at that.
One previous special permit decision by the zoning board. Suzanne, do you have questions?
No, I just think he's cutting it close, and we'll probably have to have as-built, but other than that, I have no.
No objection to that at all.
Agree with your comment. No questions.
Tony?
No further questions.
I agree with Suzanne's comment.
Okay. Public comment.
The 24.97, that's close.
Yeah, I was going to say,
I think that's the number you used earlier when you were like, we approved 24.97. And I was like, that sounds really
Stuck in my head, yeah.
so the one circumstance here would be that where they're removing the shed, they're not going to have any storage for mechanicals, and they also don't have lot coverage space to add a pad.
So we do show the future pool mechanicals on the plan.
There's a baby one.
Oh, the
Yeah.
dot on the,
I asked the engineers, I
Mechanicals
said,
of
you
this
tell me what we need and where we need it, and that's what they told me.
Things have changed in the pool business
Yes.
considerably.
And if we needed to amend the plan, we need, if we need to change the deck at some point to get that lot coverage to be allowed to do that, we'd have to do that.
Take one stone out of the patio.
Figure it out. No stone unturned.
Any follow-up questions from the board? Okay. Do we have any board discussion that we need to have regarding this proposal?
No.
All right, how would the board like to proceed?
Motion to close.
A motion to close by Suzanne. Is there a second?
Second here.
Second, Mr. Finneran. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Closed. No more testimony will be taken. How would the board like to proceed?
Motion to approve with conditions.
Motion to approve the conditions. Second, Mark. Findings?
Findings, we're in an RC zone, overlay of Little Pond, no flood. We did have a previous appeal decision, a special permit, no 7. Lot size is 13,190. Existing, it's public road. Existing is 20.9 and 34.9. Proposed 24.97 over 39.9. And Kevin can help me again. This thing, the magnifying glass wouldn't even help. I had 28.1 is the height. And then Scott has 22.6 on the ridge.
So the
For the
ridge of the
addition.
existing house is 28 feet, 8 3/4.
28.8?
Yeah, 28 feet, 8.75.
Okay.
And of the ridge,
The addition.
the ridge of the addition is 22 feet, 6 3/4.
Yeah.
So 6-foot difference, exactly.
I had it, actually.
And the
Amazing.
point, the point is not right. That indicates tenths of a foot.
Yeah.
There is a comp sheet in here. The property is sewered. That's about all I have for findings.
No opposition in the
No.
file, no opposition in the hearing. Conditions?
As-built.
As built.
Yeah.
No additional lot coverage.
You can throw that one out there, right.
Not even the stone.
Standard hours of work.
Nothing else in
Town
here?
referrals. I don't think there's anything else.
No, I think, anything else you got, Noreen?
just following the soil erosion and sediment
Yeah,
control.
town
standard
referrals, all
conditions.
town
Yeah.
referrals.
Yeah. Okay, I think that's it.
Anything else? All right, all those in
The-
favor?
the-
Frank?
The finding, there's no special permit on this property. That's not a special permit.
Oh, I thought it was.
No, it's not.
The decision,
It's a
It's just a
decision
decision.
overruling the building commissioner determination, and it's not.
Oh, it was an
a buildable
appeal.
lot. So that has
Right.
nothing to do with the size of the building.
No, it's an appeal, you're right. Thank you.
anything else? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That's a vote.
Thank you very much.
Next up under new hearings, we have 04524 Toner, trustees of 452 Davisville, East Falmouth, requesting a special permit to convert a portion of the existing non-conforming detached barn into an accessory apartment.
We have Dennis Toner III and Karen Toner, trustees, 452 Davisville Road, East Falmouth. Applied to the zoning board of appeals for a special permit pursuant to sections 246.6 and 240.10.2A Code of Falmouth to convert a portion of the existing non-conforming detached barn into an accessory apartment. The subject property is 452 Davisville Road in East Falmouth. And from town boards, Water Department. The detached accessory apartment will need an independent 1-inch PE water service from the water main to the dwelling. The water meter will need to be installed inside the home and not in a crawl space. The water service application will need to be filled out at the DPW at 416 Gifford Street if approved by the ZBA. Assessor is requesting inspection prior to sign-off. Then we have planning. The applicant filed a site plan review with the planning office, and it's on the agenda for May 14th. Building department has no comment. And we have a whole planning approval. Oh, this is the accessory apartment combined review. It's pretty long. I don't think I need to read the whole thing. There's the referral. Engineering has put a lot of his comments in that site, or it's not site plan, accessory apartment combined review. Concom has no comment. The planning board's findings, they're long. I don't think I need to read them. We can just incorporate them.
Just reference a decision.
Reference a decision. The Scott McCann, this is the Board of Health. There is an existing IA technology on the property called RUCK, R-U-C-K. It's one of the earliest IA systems installed in town. It's circa 1999. The system still needs to follow RUCK's MADEP, which is Mass Department of Environmental, general use approvals for this technology requiring operation and maintenance. This RUCK system, though older, will satisfy the bylaws requirements. That being said, the system must remain functional and properly maintained. And that's from the Board of Health. And I think, did this one have a letter? No. No, we're all set.
For the applicant, good evening.
Thank you. For the final time this evening, Kevin Clower for the applicants, Dennis and Karen Toner, the owners of 452 Davisville Road. I'm joined by Mr. Toner tonight, as well as Beecher's Bunker, who is the architect on this particular project. We are applying for a special permit for a detached accessory apartment. We've already obtained approvals from the Historical Commission as well as the Planning Board. And just to clarify, Ms. Murphy, it is actually a site plan review decision. That's the
It was site plan, okay.
The process that they review the proposed accessory dwelling units is site plan review.
Okay.
So this property is located at the southern end of Davisville Road. It's very close to the intersection of Knott. It's on a large lot. It's 35,166 square feet. It's zoned residential B, and it presently contains a single-family dwelling, an existing detached barn with habitable space, an existing garage, and a pool. The Toners have been longtime residents of Falmouth. However, they only recently purchased this property last summer. And they're beginning a process to restore and improve the home and the grounds, as well as the outbuildings. So tonight, we're requesting a special permit to convert a portion of the existing barn to an accessory dwelling under 246.6B. In connection with this proposal, what they're doing is they're removing the existing garage on the right-hand side of that building, if you're looking at it from the parking area, which will be rebuilt as habitable space. The proposed accessory apartment will repurpose the existing barn. A portion of the second floor will remain accessory habitable space for the primary dwelling. So if you look at the plans, you'll see that this portion here, to the right, the bedroom, the living room, the laundry room, that's all part of the accessory dwelling unit. And then there's a second door here that has access to a bathroom, and then upstairs to additional family room space, which already exists today. So that's going to be separated so that you have this portion here as the ADU, and then the additional space available to the primary portion of the house. The remaining area of the first floor will be the one-bedroom ADU. This is in line with zoning requirements. The lot coverage by structure is only 13.55%. Lot coverage by structures, paving, and parking is only 25.95%, both far below the allowable thresholds. The existing side yard setback to the north here is going to be improved from 5.3 feet to 9.6, and it otherwise conforms to all setback requirements. This meets all the requirements for an accessory apartment. The lot's more than 7,500 square feet. The principal dwelling is owner occupied. There is one bedroom proposed in the ADU, up to 2 is allowed. The proposed ADU is 761 square feet. And though it is in a coastal pond overlay district, there is an existing denitrification system, which allows for an expansion in the number of bedrooms, and we are actually expanding the size of that system. And it meets all the standards, design standards set forth in the bylaw. I think that a project like this, use of existing structures to create accessory dwelling units for family or other use, is exactly what the bylaw, what the town had in mind in passing the accessory dwelling unit bylaw. I think this is a great project, and I think you can and should approve this, and I'd be happy to address any questions that you might have.
Questions from the board? Tony, start with you.
That little garage storage space in the bottom right, that's part of the single-family residence.
Yeah, I mean, that's access only from the outside. It's just unfinished storage space.
And how is it, this is going to be rented out?
This is actually for Mr. Toner and Mrs. Toner's father, is the initial use. And then what may.
And the cupola on top that's going to be built on top of that, that is just a design feature, not a functional feature?
Yes.
So no windows, no venting?
No, I mean, there'll be glass panels on the cupola, because that's how the design
Yeah, but in other
is.
words, it's not being used to vent the building or?
No, it's ornamental in nature.
It's right. Thank you very much. Those are my questions.
Scott?
The side setback is, what, 5.2, and it's going to improve to 9.6?
Correct.
I just kind of fundamentally no way to get that to 10.
I mean, not without dramatically.
Okay, that's fine. I was just, we're so close.
We could say it's de minimis.
Point taken. Point taken. On the septic, could you give me a little more color? So we have a current denite. Is that getting expanded, or?
It is.
Okay.
Yep, we actually have a septic plan.
Yep, could you just kind of point that
Which
out?
shows an addition of new chambers
Okay.
to the system.
No, it's a beautiful spot, beautiful project, so yeah. No further questions.
I have no issues, no, it's great.
I have no questions. Mark?
No, it's a great spot. I like the pool. You can have some serious races there. Ready for this?
Yeah.
I agree with
Ask the
everything you
questions.
said.
Thank you. I'm gonna mark this day down.
Frank?
No, I'm all set too.
So we did have a question. For clarification, the accessory dwelling bylaw prohibits short-term rentals.
Well, they have said that it's the primary dwelling's owner occupied, so.
So they can do whatever they want.
I think that specifically, I think the bylaw specifically states no short-term rentals.
Would you be opposed to a condition?
Can we condition that?
1 month, I think,
It's
is the.
per the bylaw.
Yeah, it's per the bylaw, per the bylaw. I'm not going to,
Yeah, I don't really want to add conditions that don't exist
No.
outside the bylaw. But I think that there's something,
It's nothing less than 30 days, I think.
We can just condition it per bylaw.
Yeah.
That's
I'm
fine.
I'm satisfied,
Don't worry
Mr.
about it.
Flower, just per bylaw.
Yeah.
I'm not going to make this.
I mean, the whole point is to not have these be
Right.
short-term rentals.
Exactly. So, public comment? All right, seeing none. Board discussion?
I only have one thing to say. Motion to close.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing is closed. No more testimony will be taken. And how would the board like to proceed?
Right back, Scott.
Motion to approve with conditions.
Scott, second to Suzanne. Findings?
Findings, let's see, we're in an RB zone, Bourne Pond partial, and it's partial historic, not in a flood zone. The lot is 35,166, it's on a public road. Existing is 13.54 over 2643, and proposed is 13.55 over 25.95, reducing. Now, here I go again, Kev. Height, 23.5? Let's keep me consistently
23
wrong.
20, well, again, to
plans.
Mr. Finneran's point, it's 23 feet 5 inches,
point.
not .5.
Okay.
Because
Forget that.
and
No,
engineers use the
it's-
.5. Mark, we are agreeing left and right tonight.
God, I'm good. All right, let's see what else we
Cats and
got here.
dogs living together.
For findings, we have, it shows on the plan, I guess that, the 2 parking spaces for the ADU. You have approval from Historic. The apartment itself is 761 square feet that I have. Alterations are improving the side setback. It's a 240-10-2A. I think that's about all I have. Yeah.
We have decision from the planning board. We have a couple different reports in there we can incorporate. Correspondence from the health department that the system is one of the earliest D-nights, that it is still suitable. Testimony from the applicant that they're adding additional chambers for capacity. Health agent indicated that the septic must be kept in good condition. You can add a condition if
And there
need
was a Title V inspection report done last summer, so it's still operating.
Site plan approval.
be. Site plan approval, no opposition at the hearing, none on the file. Any other findings? No. Conditions?
Assessor needed inspection. Water line,
Yep.
the bylaw with rentals,
Compliance to the ADU bylaw.
per plans.
Standard hours of work.
Do we need, I think that's all we have, right? Yeah.
Yep, just engineering, post the address, right?
Thank you, yep, engineering. All town referrals. Anything else, findings or conditions? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is a vote. Thank you very much.
Everyone, thank you. I appreciate time on this and all the other hearings, and I will now leave you alone, Susan.
Final hearing under new hearings this evening is 04624 Phillips, 24 Sycamore Street, East Falmouth, requesting a special permit to construct an addition to the existing non-conforming dwelling.
We have Richard and Marilyn Phillips, 26 Sycamore Street, East Falmouth, Mass. Apply to the Zoning Board of Appeals for a special permit pursuant to Section 240-10-2A of the Code of Falmouth to construct an addition to the existing non-conforming dwelling. The subject property is 26 Sycamore. And let's see what I have from town boards. Water. I would recommend updating the existing water service to a 1-inch PE. Currently, the water service appears to be entering the foundation in the proximity of the addition. This water service record appears to be installed, the water service record appears to be installed in 1948 and is nearing its life expectancy. Please come to the DPW and fill out a water service application if you decide to update your water service. Assessors, no comment. Building, no comment. And then we have engineering. This application was reviewed for impacts to public rights-of-way and public utilities. Sycamore Street is a public right-of-way in this area. No alterations are proposed to the public right-of-way. Any changes within the right-of-way will require filing a permit with the engineering division. 2, any connections or alterations to public utilities will require permission from the appropriate town department. This project must not direct any stormwater runoff to the public property, or butters, or public rights-of-way. 4, a dry well is shown for the proposed roof, as we recommend. 5, where this site slopes down to the street, the work area is close to the town right-of-way. We request that erosion and sediment controls are included for this project to protect the town's downstream stormwater system and the public right-of-way. We recommend that the plans be revised to include a demarcated limit of work and include proposed erosion and sediment controls. And we recommend the following condition be included. Quotations, construction of this project shall follow the town's soil erosion and sediment control standard conditions. Document can be found on the Engineering Division's page of the town's website. References to the Department of Public Works Engineering Division shall be replaced at the Zoning Board of Appeals, who will be the permitting authority. That's engineering. Board of Health says it's Seward. Concom, the property is located in a flood zone and an RDA must be filed with the Conservation Department. And that's what we have. I have 1 letter in support and 1 letter of comments. And that's what we have.
We did also receive, sorry to interrupt, late today that there was a filing with the Conservation Commission as requested. And they did update the plan to indicate the demarcated limit of work and soil erosion. So those items are checked off.
Good evening.
All right. Rich Phillips, 26 Sycamore Street. I'm not sure what I should say, but we want to add a small room out the front of our house to take advantage of the southern exposure, and we can see a little bit more of Great Pond from that location as well. It's a very small room, 9 by 12, I think. And I don't know what else you need to know.
Anything else you'd like us to know? All right, does the board have questions? Start with you, Frank.
Suzanne mentioned that there was a comment that we received. I don't know that I saw that. Could you tell us what it is?
Yeah, there's two, one in support, I can read them, one is long, and it's, there, you saw the tree line.
Yeah, well,
There were people that are in that, you can read it, it's long. And the other one is a brief one that is there in favor. We are writing to express our full support, doesn't give their, oh, they live at 32, and they're in support. This one is concerned with shadowing, airflow. I'm just summing it up. Did you guys read these letters?
No.
I don't know if you want to take a gander.
So I think just to summarize, the letter from the abutter was the abutter, trying to think of it's the west?
I think it would be
well,
west.
this is from 22,
Yeah, it's west side.
and
Yeah,
this is
west.
26.
So
Left or
it's
west?
nowhere near the addition that they're doing, but these abutters write that they're concerned about the fence and the arborvitae that were installed. But I'm assuming that was installed some period of time ago. So I think the abutters don't have a concern about the proposal that's before the board, but they are concerned about the landscaping that they feel is imposing on their property.
That's not before us.
Not before us.
Not before us,
So,
but you might want to make friends. Just my suggestion.
No, I know, we tried, but
Yeah.
the way the lot line goes, it goes to the very corner of their house.
Yeah,
And then comes out this way. So the woman we purchased a home from, she didn't want the fence to be right up against their house, so she just made it straight. And.
they just have no more sun, they say,
Yeah, the house was in
because the arborvitae's
disrepair.
got
Yeah,
tall. Yeah,
Yeah, and we talked to them about it, and at the time, they were fine with it, but that was 12 years ago or so,
Yeah.
so.
Pass that back, thank
but
you.
that's not before us. I just thought you should know that
very
that's what their
kind of you. I
concern
appreciate
is.
that.
Other questions, Frank?
Well, no, otherwise, I went out, took a look at the site, I noticed that this addition is going to come out equal, it's going to be parallel to or equal to the front steps. I'm not really concerned about it, but it's something that it just increases the nonconformity.
Not all the way.
I'm not really opposed to it, but.
Mark?
No, it's certainly the definition of modest. I don't think it's de minimis, but no, I don't have any concerns. In the letter from the neighbor, there's nothing we can do about that. It's not before us. I mean, they get too overgrown, they have the right to trim on their side, I guess, but no, if it was my house, I'd do the same thing.
I have no questions. Suzanne?
No questions.
Tony?
A quick question. I don't understand about the fence. I know fence is not before us, but we've talked about these in the past. That fence on the left side is on house number 22's property, and that's by agreement?
Well, yes, at the beginning it was. It's almost like a piece of pie, the way the fence goes from the edge of their house. If our property line goes to their house is on our, just about on our property line. And the fence, if we put it on our property line, would go like this. And it would be like up against their house. And the previous owner, she said, I didn't want to do that to them. So and we found this out after the fact. So she put it away and just came
So
straight.
you have an agreement?
Right, so
then
it's
that-
sort of a piece of pie at this end, and a piece of pie at that.
And then, that just resolves my concern, no
Okay.
no issue then. I have no other questions.
Public comment? Seeing none. Board discussion.
I'll do it. Motion to close.
Motion to close. Second, Mr. Finneran, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Hearing is closed, no further testimony will be taken. How would the board like to proceed?
Motion to approve with conditions?
Second that.
Second, findings?
Findings, it's in an RC district, Little Pond and Great Pond. It's in a flood zone AE12. There was one previous decision in 2012. It's an 8,957, square foot lot, public road. Existing 18.2 over 23.04, proposed is 19.27 over 24.26. Here I go again. I got the height at 19.1.
No point.
19 feet,
Don't-
1 inch.
1 inch, I did, 1 inch, not this point, I have to remember, it is sewered. And that's what I have.
Did you cite the percentages of lot coverage?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, sorry. Looking at one other thing. Why don't we just put something in, there was one letter of concern from a butter at 22. The concerns are not so much about the project, but were about landscaping. There was a board question concerning the lot line and placement of the fence. And although not before us or subject of the complaint or concern, there's testimony is there's mutual encroachment on both sides due to the way the lot line runs. Just show that we were listening. Any other findings?
No.
Conditions?
Plans.
Your favorite hours of work?
Do we have anything from,
Yes.
Yes. Water referral?
1
do we have
inch.
anything from conservation in here? Is there?
So they did request a filing of the RDA, and that took place today.
Okay.
So
Must comply with any Concom conditions,
Okay, that's perfect, too.
if any.
The 1 inch water main?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
Comply with the water, any other town referrals comply with a 1 inch water main. Other conditions? All right, anything else, Noreen? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is a vote. Thank you very much. That will conclude our last new hearing this evening. Next up is open meeting. We'll be tabling all minutes this evening. Number 2, we have a referral to the Cape Cod Commission regarding Vertex Towers LLC, 481 Quaker Road, North Falmouth, proposing a 120-foot monopole tower. Anything to add,
So,
Noreen?
yes, so the board received an application on May 30th requesting a new cell tower installation to be located at 481 Quaker Road, which is the site of the St. Elizabeth Ann Seton Church. The application is a mandatory referral to the Cape Cod Commission. So the request before you is to vote that referral to the Cape Cod Commission. And just for the board and public's knowledge, there is a balloon test currently scheduled for Tuesday, June 25th from 9 a.m. to noon, weather dependent. That notice will be placed in the paper, mailed to the abutters. Yeah, that's all I have.
I'll make a motion to refer this matter to the Cape Cod Commission as requested.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Is a vote.
How long does one of these referrals take, Noreen, typically?
So that's a very good question. During my tenure here, we have not referred any, other than one prior cell recently to the Cape Cod Commission, so I'm not familiar with the amount of time. I think some of that is based on the submission and when the Cape Cod Commission determines that they have a full filing, and then they'll proceed, so I'm not sure.
Okay,
I guess we find out.
yeah, we will.
Number 3, discussion re 40B CMRs with a possible vote.
So we are tabling that until the next meeting?
Very good.
Now, Ashley gave me a couple of extra copies. Did anybody need some?
Of what?
The CMRs.
Read the CMRs.
Yeah, I'll have one.
Sorry, none for you.
We can print out more.
Yeah, would you?
Happy to, yeah.
Zoning administrator update.
So just two new administrative approvals, 63 Old Bayberry. It was an accessory apartment that the board approved. They were just looking to add an interior set of stairs to an unfinished basement. So we granted that. And then 34 Kendall, they were looking to replace an easterly garage window with a pedestrian door. So, minor changes.
Isn't it good we don't have to have a full hearing for that? Beautiful.
Number 5, board discussion.
I'd just like everybody to think about potentially having a timer here on our desk and maybe one on the podium, or whatever the logistics are, to try and potentially, it's in our rules and procedures on time, on how much time people get. I'm not looking, or me personally, not looking to reduce the amount of what people have to say, but I think that we're getting some fairly long comment periods, a lot of repetitive comments, so I was just hoping that we could kind of get everybody realigned, that, you know, think through the process, think through what you'd like to say to the board, and try and get people to kind of adhere to what our rules and procedures are. So I just wanted everybody to think about a clock.
I don't disagree.
Or
I was
clocks.
in front of the appeals court last Friday, and the first thing they tell you is get to the point.
Yeah.
I think the clock would benefit us as well as,
Yeah.
you know, because sometimes you just lose track of.
I also agree that the clock would benefit the management of the meeting.
Frank, thoughts?
Well, like Mr. Morris, I have practiced before courts where they have clocks, and it forces you to gather your thoughts and get them out fast.
So I guess we could think through some options with Ashley and Noreen, and we could come back and propose something to the board.
I was actually looking at the layout of this room, and I was almost thinking that if we put something on the end of this top area, at the corner there, it would be visible to both the board and the applicant, trying to find a way not to have multiples, but,
But then Ash would have to work it, right?
They have them that.
no.
Is it remote?
Yes,
Oh, okay.
yeah, so somebody can sit there and.
I think they have them that
Way.
are visible front and back, so it's something that could go.
Oh, we could check on that,
Yeah.
yeah.
I believe they do. I think I've seen them before. And that way,
We're looking to make less work for everybody.
Yes.
Didn't we see one time that had like a stoplight and a green, like a red light and a
yeah,
green light
they
somewhere?
got yellow and a red.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the timer, I
doesn't have
thought, might be
times, no.
better, because you can really
In the
see where
bylaw
you are.
says time.
See how much
Yeah.
time
Yeah.
you've got versus.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I had.
Anyone else? Board updates?
We just had them.
Future agenda items.
We get 4th of July off?
Yes.
Yay,
All right.
I'm excited.
The next scheduled public hearing will be held on June 13th, 2024 at 6 PM here in the Select Board's Meeting Room, Town Hall in Falmouth. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
We are adjourned. It is 7:38.
Wow.